So we are talking Wonder Woman.
Yes, we finally got to go see Wonder Woman.
Yes.
It was a week late, but as with pretty much any movie at this point, life happens, and we'll get there when we get there.
We will indeed. We do our best.
Yeah.
So,
I guess first and foremost, what'd you think?
Oh my God. That's all I can say. I feel like a teenage girl. OMG.
Right.
OMG.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Many wonderful things to say about it. There's only a couple things that I would say I'm not super stoked about in the movie, but as an experience, I'm going to go out and just throw out the gauntlet and say that it's absolutely the best DC movie as far as DC Comics Cinematic Universe movie, period.
Now, when you say that...
Yep.
Are you including the Nolan stuff?
I'm not including the Nolan stuff.
Superman, 70s Superman? Are you...
yeah.
Because if you're just saying, it's better than Man of Steel, BVS, and Suicide Squad...
You're not saying
Way
much.
to step out on a ledge there, homie.
Okay. So here's the deal. If I had to rank them, I would go Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Wonder Woman. And that's only because the other two have a very special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. So for me, I've got to put them there.
Okay.
So what about for you?
Oh man, it's tough to rank them. When you throw in the Nolan movies and the Richard Donner and the Donner Supermans, it is tough. It is very tough to rank them. I like it better than Batman Begins.
Okay.
It's hard for me to not say Dark Knight's number one. Just because it's so good as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I had more fun watching Wonder Woman than I did watching The Dark Knight.
Okay.
There were less nitpicky things on The Dark Knight than there was Wonder Woman, but I had a hell of a good time watching Wonder Woman. There was the emotional response to finally seeing Wonder Woman on screen was amazing.
Oh, yes.
And I would say that when she walks out onto that battlefield is the most heroic thing I've seen in a hero movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. By far.
And Danielle laughed at me because she called it my Optimus Prime moment. And I'll explain that to you because when we first started dating, we went and saw Transformers.
Okay.
And growing up on Transformers and stuff, when they first showed up, before the rest of the movie happens, before it goes baytastic, and they showed Optimus Prime on screen, I was like, I squeed. I was like, yay, Optimus Prime live in a movie, and then the rest of it happened.
Gotcha.
So literally, when Wonder Woman came up when she climbed out of the trench and the coat's down, and the shot from the trailer where she's climbing up.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I go, fuck yes. Like I was just like I teared up. Yep. I was so excited. It was so. It's easily the best of the current stock of DC films.
Okay.
So I mean that's not even
that's
not even a debate. I would put it better than a good 90% of the Marvel movies. I mean, I don't know which Marvel movies you could truly argue against it that are significantly better. Maybe the original Iron Man. Maybe the Cap movies, which of course includes Civil War. And maybe the original Avengers.
I was just going to say.
I like it better than the original Avengers.
Yeah.
Mostly because I hold the whole ring of trash in the sky with enemies coming through it thing against the Avengers now because they did it and now everyone does it.
Right.
So I kind of have to hold it against it a little. But
carrying a grudge.
Yeah,
So as comic book movies go.
Yeah.
They are classics, and I don't mean to take anything away from them, but yes, I rate it far better than any of the Donner films. And I do think that some of the Marvel movies, Ant-Man, Winter Soldier, the original Avengers, and of course original Iron Man, are all exceptional experiences in their own right.
Right.
And they play a very important part in building this overarching. But if I had to look at them as just a standalone film, as what they what they represent and how good they are, Wonder Woman probably ranks above most of them.
Right. I mean, because one of the things I think that Marvel has gotten into, and DC did this already with BVS, but one of the things that Marvel has gotten into, unfortunately, we've talked about this before, is that every movie has to connect to every other movie.
Right.
Except for Guardians. Guardians does its own thing. Guardians goes out there, and Guardians is without a doubt the most fun of the Avengers movies. Or, sorry, the Marvel movies.
And it has a lot in common with Wonder Woman because of that. It stands on its own.
So, because outside of the very beginning and the very end of Wonder Woman, there is nothing tying it to the rest of the DC universe.
And it's so subtle.
It's an email. One
of my favorite things in the entire movie is the fact that instead of the embarrassment that was the BVS movie, where they spent DC did this desperate, needy moment where they spent 5.5 minutes
where Lex Luthor knows everyone's secret identity.
Running through basically running trailers for other potential franchises, in front of you. It was an embarrassing attempt at trying to establish what Marvel has done over 10 years and saying, look, we're going to make other movies too. And they didn't do that with Wonder Woman. They didn't throw in your face, look, remember we talked about this one thing in this other movie and now see how it ties together? Desperately, you have to explain the joke. It doesn't work. Does it make sense? And they didn't do that. There was a very subtle thing where you saw the email, okay? And it was only a couple seconds, and then it went into what she's experiencing and feeling.
Yep.
And at the very end, she writes back, and it's so subtle. And so I'd love that. Because you're right. It stands on its own. It's a complete experience from beginning to end. And I loved it for a couple of reasons that are really important to me.
Go ahead.
Number one, it's gender role breaking.
Okay.
We have a true female lead in a very powerful position, that we've not seen before.
Yeah.
I got into a discussion with somebody before about this, and they're like, oh, whatever. Linda Carter did that in the 70s. No, she did not.
Not like this.
Wonder Woman was campy, and...
Yeah, but Batman was campy in the 60s, so I mean,
I understand. Yeah. It fit with its time period,
Yeah.
But she in no way, shape, or form exemplified the kind of power.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't what you would call empowering.
Exactly.
Like this.
And this was. It was pure empowerment. And they picked a woman who's so strong in her presence and her presentation.
And I'll be honest, I was one of the individuals that was not... I was concerned when
that
she was
first
cast.
That they cast an Israeli?
No.
Oh, okay.
That they cast her.
Okay. You think she was too pretty?
No. The only acting I'd seen her do at that point was the arm candy in the Fast and the Furious movie.
Okay.
That was literally it.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay.
Can she carry this character?
Because there was a lot of people who were like, oh, she ain't thick enough. She needs to look like Lucy Lawless from Xena, blah, blah, blah. Shut the F up about that crap. That don't matter. It's supernatural powers. You could be the size of a toothpick, and you can...
You're talking about a woman who swings a mystical rope of truth.
It's mythical. It's mythical, bro. It doesn't matter if she can... take the twin 135 sort of ride on the incline. It doesn't. That doesn't matter. Leg day, right? So, what's a leg day? No. But I was concerned because with as culturally significant as this role was going to be,
right?
They had enlisted someone that had not had much acting experience at that point.
Yep.
And so I was concerned about that. I think she was absolutely appropriately attractive for the part.
Yep.
Wonder Woman's supposed to be a smoke show. She's supposed to be very attractive. So anybody that gripes about that, shut up. The Israeli thing, didn't mind it. In fact, I really liked it. I liked the fact that, for one, since she was Israeli,
she looked like an Amazon.
She'd been in the armed forces because she's Israeli, so she has a military background, had for 2 years. So obviously she knows how to fight. She has a exotic quality.
Yes, very much so.
That random white chick number 12 from the United States or England would not have captured.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's actually one of the things I really dug about the movie was that they had Connie Nielsen and Princess Buttercup. I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Robin Wright. Speak with Israeli. They had everybody on Themyscira speak with an Israeli accent to match her.
Yep.
Instead of trying to shoehorn her and force her into a British accent, like every other ancient Greek type movie or film or whatever happens, go watch Gladiator, and they're speaking with Greek accents. Or not Greek accents, they're speaking with British accents, and then Joaquin Phoenix. You know, they leaned into her strengths and allowed, instead of forcing her to have an accent, they allowed her to act.
Right.
And they allowed her to make her choices without having to worry about how she sounded while she was talking. And I really dug that.
Yeah, they on that note, I also though was a little bit taken out, and this is it's a nitpicky petty thing, but it's a thing for me. When they go to that kind of level of detail, with having everyone aligned, so they create this race of women who appear united as one, both in their culture and their identity, right?
Yeah.
Then they go, and one of their primary enemies is the Germans, who were all a bunch of white people who talked as white as possible. There was no accent. There was a very mild...
Ludendorff had a little bit of
a little bit mild. But everything... I would have...
Moose and squirrel.
I honestly would have preferred
Russian.
it if it was in German with subtitles. And I know that some people might
you can't
not
do that
like
in
that.
an action movie, because then you're missing on set pieces and stuff
I guess.
that.
It just... Here I am trying to picture these guys as Nazis, and they're like, bro... The gas.
Oh, it
wasn't that bad, but that's my mentality.
Well,
I'm like,
and I almost feel like I need to go back and watch it, because it felt like they leaned it, because the guy from Trainspotting had a Scottish accent.
Yep.
Sammy had an Indian accent.
That's
Chief spoke
like
a Native American does. Yep. Well, in the movies does. You know.
Yeah.
Not every guy from
No,
South
I've
Dakota
seen him in other stuff, and
But I'm just saying, stereotypically.
I know. Depiction.
Yeah, stereotypical depiction. So I feel like the only person that was really American was Chris Pine.
Which he did.
He was great.
Chris Pine, yeah.
He was great. Very charismatic. There's going to be spoilers. I mean, we've been talking already, but spoilers are happening.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in the headline or whatever. Spoilers. I like how they handled his death at the end. Me
too. And I like the fact that he did.
I like that he died too.
They didn't try to carry over this pseudo potential love story. Mm-hmm. You know, he played his role and his part for her.
Yeah.
Okay, and served as the motivation he needed to be. Mm-hmm. And then he went out in a great way.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they left it. They didn't linger on it too much. They didn't, you know what I mean, make it a major traumatic or emotional issue.
And I loved the she was shell shocked from the explosion and couldn't hear and we didn't get to hear what he said the first go around.
But then she pulled out of what she felt. You know what I mean?
She could speak hundreds of languages. Apparently, one of them is lip reading, which is fine.
But she put that together,
and
she
was able to put it together while she was kind of in a daze.
Yeah,
and realized what he said, and it was able to bring us back to that emotional beat when we needed to have that emotional beat.
Absolutely.
My one nitpick for the movie, and not that he didn't do a good job, I didn't buy Lupin whatever from Harry Potter as Ares. I didn't buy it.
Me neither. That's actually my biggest gripe with it. He's not scary to me.
Right.
He doesn't seem like a god.
He looked...
You can wrap him in as much CG as you want.
He looked goofy in the helmet.
Yep. You can put him in as much CG as you want. It doesn't give him presence.
Yeah.
He still looked like a professor from Harry Potter.
And even if he was, and it's not, it wasn't a build issue. It wasn't anything like that. It's the same thing I talked about a little bit ago with Gal. It doesn't matter how you're built. You're a god,
right?
Whatever.
It's a general
sit
look
there and eat
thing.
sandwiches. There was something in just his visage, in the way he looked. Once he put the helmet on,
scholarly.
It didn't look right. His facial features were too soft. for the character.
Speaking of that, though,
but he did a good job. They did a good job
doing a whammy on us.
Yeah,
I was legitimately surprised at the bait and switch.
Yeah, it was a nice bait and switch.
They did a good job with that. But I agree with you. I didn't believe him as Ares.
Yeah.
Even with his voice, even when they donned him up in CG and put him in heavy
he's got
armor
a little bit higher register on his voice.
Yeah.
He didn't have a commanding
and
evil
he
presence.
Didn't strike fear in me. He didn't strike me as a formidable opponent. Something
Correct.
that I expected her to be battling.
Yeah, and that was kind of my one gripe about the movie too. I thought Dr. Poison was good.
Yeah, she was awesome.
That's been a recurring Wonder Woman villain over the years. So nice pull on her.
Yep.
Man, the action was just spectacular.
I was just gonna say, let's talk about the things that were fantastic about it. Cinematography. Can we talk?
It was gorgeous.
Every single still in this movie is a work of art. Like, the set pieces are phenomenal. The coloring is phenomenal. The action is extremely well framed. We don't ever get that. I have a huge problem, and just filmmakers out there, if you care about my opinion, action movies are absolute crap when you try to hide your lack of choreography or fighting skill with quick cuts and up-close shots of just like hands crossing or swords crossing or guns. I want to see every single aspect of the frame with both people in it. I want to see what's going on. If you can't do that, you suck at what you do.
Well,
That's all there is to it.
We were talking about it on the way back over here from the movie, and I was talking about how in Fast 8 is that the most recent one? Fast 8.
The 15 angle fence jump you told me about?
There was Vin Diesel jumps a scene and there's 4 quick cuts
that's
to jump a fence.
Stupid.
I mean that's insane to me, and it's getting to be more and more and more and more. And there's constant shake. I love this movie because there was no shaky cam.
Yeah.
There was no hi everybody. There was no quick cuts. It was well choreographed. It was well done, and it comes from a director, Patty Jenkins, who you don't. This is her first action movie.
You don't picture her as an action director.
She did Monster. That's the movie you think of her from. And Monster's good, and it got Charlize Theron an Oscar.
But it's an entirely different type of movie.
It's not an action movie.
No, God.
And it takes a special kind of director to shoot action.
Yep.
And this is her first time doing it. I cannot wait to see where she goes.
I was just going to say, I'm all about whatever you do next, P. Jenks. Seriously. Because, seriously. Well, no, that's what everybody's calling her on Twitter. I had to look her up when I heard that she was being when she was cast as director or hired as the director.
Yeah.
I had to look her up and see what she'd done before, and then I was like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting because this has got to be a powerful, action-oriented woman." What I do know is she knows how to direct women. Okay, so I was like that. I was confident in it. I was worried that the action would be lackluster because it would take a sideshow. But she realized the core material that this was, and she handled all of it extremely well. So she handled who Diana was as a woman, the entire process of growing up being a woman in a woman-dominated society, okay, with these expectations and the limitations that were put on her, okay? Yeah. Like, you felt for this kid and you got to identify with what she's dealing with. And then she dealt very well with their introduction of men into the society. And you know what I mean? And then I love the way she portrayed... one of my favorite things about this whole movie is there were all these moments with opportunity for... we're taking a character whose entire existence has been in not just a different, she's not from here. She's not from here. She's from a world that's not part of our own, okay?
Right.
And now she's sucked into ours, and then she's also learning about, as an adult, being exposed to men and vehicles and an entirely different world that's not a lush garden. And the way that Patty Jenkins portrayed her naivete was so incredibly delicate and perfectly orchestrated. It didn't portray her as too dumb. There wasn't too much of the aw shucks effect, you know? It was very well done, and it created this great glimpse at this woman who had so much power at her fingertips, but and still yet was vulnerable to this world around her. And I loved her like pseudo mild disdain for the way things are done.
Yeah, because she comes in and people are inherently good.
Right.
That's one of the great themes about this movie is that people are inherently good.
Right.
And if you give them the ability to be good, they'll be good. Unfortunately, we know that's not the case. But that was what it was here.
Yep.
I also loved how they combined the fish out of water with the action, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It harkened back, and if you said this, I apologize. I was trying to find an Easter egg from the movie on my phone, so I sadly will say I was not 100% listening to you.
Okay.
But like I said when we were leaving the theater, it was like Splash meets Captain America.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was strong, and those moments were done well. We weren't beat over the head with them.
Yeah, and the other thing I loved is that there were also these little moments of humor.
Yeah.
And they weren't Deadpool-esque. They didn't draw them out. They didn't try to throw too many one-liners in there. And most of it was situational.
Right.
Her unfamiliarity of society and interaction with other people is what created the humor.
Yeah, the tone of the movie led to the humor.
Exactly.
Not
perfectly
not sitting it in front of a test screening.
Yes.
And then going,
and then rewriting
crap,
jokes.
We need to add more jokes to Suicide Squad.
Yep. That's so perfect.
As far as the only thing I think I could have done without the I'm a Barbie girl scene where they're putting her in all the dresses.
Oh yeah, too many.
One, maybe two less dresses would have been okay.
Yeah. That almost seemed ripped out of every rom-com wedding movie for girls.
That's what
dress try-on scene.
That's kind of what I didn't like about it. Was it took a little bit away from the power of what she was. And I think that's the point.
Though she carried it well, though, because they did a good job of showing, though, you can't just put this woman in just random outfit and make her fit in. And that was exemplified by that moment when Chris Pine took the glasses and put them on her. And the secretary was like,
like she's not the most beautiful woman you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's going to hide the fact she's the most beautiful woman we've ever seen.
Exactly.
And I love that. And I love the fact that the action extremely well done. The cinematography is really well done.
Yep.
We have this woman who is undeniably beyond gorgeous. She redefines that category.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous, and yet she will kick your ass.
Yeah.
And so but she's got this subtle naivety to her, but she also doesn't understand anyone who will just stand by and let other people suffer.
Happen.
Yeah. She can't abide it.
Yeah.
And that's literally her core.
The dudette does not abide.
The dudette does not abide. And I'm right with you.
Yeah.
When I saw her getting agitated in the trench, and he was like, this is just the way it is.
Yeah, this is how it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
As soon as she reached back.
And for them, he's right. There isn't anything they can do about it. They're at a stalemate. They're 1,000 yards apart. The first person that pops their head up, gone.
And thousands of people have died trying to make a difference.
Exactly.
So, but as soon as she reached back and she grabbed the thing in her hair and she undid it, I was like, It's on, son. It's on. Yep. Oh, yeah. The first thing I thought as she started to climb that ladder was, get some.
Yeah.
Yeah. As she pops out of there, and that scene was transformational for the movie.
Yeah.
It took it into a whole other area. She realized at that point, wait a second, I don't need to hide in these clothes. I don't need, this has to stop. You know, and she was on a mission.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
Yep.
Oh, and we didn't talk about the fight scene in the town.
Yeah.
When she takes on the German,
the one that's in the trailer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
There's some amazing things.
The trailer did not do it justice.
No, and whatever the heck happened, Patty Jenkins, this woman who doesn't do action, phenomenally well done. Some of those scenes, I was like, that is such a cool idea. The crap she did with the shield. When she comes rolling through the room on her knees and takes the post out with the sword.
I dug more what she did with her shield than what Cap does with his.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because he bounces his around the room and he hits people with it. She uses
Shield palm.
hers as a tool.
Yeah, and she does
his
extremely well.
His is just a fly around.
She used that thing as a shield to block bullets. Yeah. She used it as a weapon to hit people. Not just a few bullets.
Freaking machine gun turret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She used it as a way to pivot herself and spin. Yeah. She used it as a way to slide on. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like so much. It was an incredibly
awesome fighting style.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly impressed with everything.
Very, very much so. Great movie. Great
movie.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you haven't seen it, boo.
Go see it.
Go see this movie. You are missing out not seeing this movie. So, final grade. What are you going to give it?
Oh, I definitely give this an A.
Full A?
Yep, full on A.
I agree. It's not A plus territory because there's a few things to...
Correct.
There's a few little things that need to be picked apart, but it's a strong A.
Yeah.
It's a strong A. It has earned every bit of the 93% it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
Absolutely.
In fact, that's probably a couple points lower.
And I will say, you and I have talked about this a ton in our previous podcasts and recordings. DC is in a very bad spot. I don't care if you're a DC fan and you thought Suicide...
I am a DC fan.
And you were one of those people who was like, Suicide Squad was great. No. There's no denying that DC was in a really, really bad spot. And they needed this movie to be perfection.
Well, there were stories starting to pop. There have been stories, and they'll probably continue. The only two guaranteed DC movies we have right now are Justice League and Aquaman.
Yep.
And if Justice League does not perform, Aquaman's going to be it. And they're done. And, well, I say that. They've greenlit a Wonder Woman sequel.
Duh. And or hello.
Yeah. So we're going to get... We're going to get Justice League. We're going to get Aquaman. We're going to get Wonder Woman 2. Whether or not we get a Man of Steel 2, whether or not we get a Flash, whether or not we get a Cyborg, whether or not we get a Green Lantern.
It's all going to depend.
It all hinges on right now, it's all on Joss Whedon's shoulders.
So here's the thing.
To make sure that the movie does well.
This is all we can say. Justice League has the potential to let us all down, okay?
Mm-hmm. For all the ground they gained here, Justice League could rip the foundation
could rip it all out. Yep. So we need Justice League to be good. But if Justice League fails miserably because it goes the BVS route, okay? And they decide to just scrap the others. Maybe they just can. They take what they've done with Aquaman and they literally stick it in the vault, okay? I'm just saying, if it came to that, they could still continue to make this franchise, okay? And still bring people to the theaters. People are going to love this woman. They're going to love this character.
They could reboot. They could reboot everything but her. They honestly could. That's not going to bother anybody.
No.
I'll say this, and I'm going to stick to this till I see a Flash movie that's not pointless. Just spin it off the freaking TV show and have Grant Gustin in it. There's a huge following. It's the number one rated show on the network.
Yeah.
I don't... And I know I've been saying this since the word John, and I like Ezra Miller. It's fine.
I do too.
But I guess I don't understand it.
I know
that they're probably all, well, Ben Affleck's not going to cross over to be on The Flash on the CW, which, of course he's not. But so what?
Yeah, I don't care.
Have Barry Allen get zapped into a freaking... have Barry Allen get sucked into a hole in the Speed Force into another
not like you haven't done it.
There's 52. There's 52 universes.
Yep.
It's DC. There's 52 worlds, 52 universes, 52 issues, 52 this, 52 that.
I've seen the trailers we've seen. I have to admit, aside from the ridiculously Tony Stark suit that they're putting on Ezra for it, I don't get the mechanical metal suit. It doesn't even make sense with the, you know what I mean, the character, what we know of him. But I like everything I've seen so far a lot of Ezra Miller. However, it kind of breaks my heart to see that Grant Gustin has done such an incredible job with this character. Yeah. And then when they come to the cinematic universe, they're like, yeah, we're going to get some other kid to do it.
Well, and what's ridiculous about it is they keep rewriting the script for the Flash movie. And they keep hiring new directors. And the reason for that is because every time they get a script treatment and a new director, it sounds like the show. And you know why? The show was the origin of the character. Yeah. You're not going to deviate from that enough to not have them tie together.
And why
you know
would you? The show works.
The
It
literal,
works.
the literal best thing that could happen for DC is for them to stick Grant Gustin in the Justice League movie. People like him, and then they start watching the show.
God forbid that we drive more viewers.
You know, I
don't get it. It doesn't make sense, but we'll see how it pans out. But, yeah, exactly.
But so the DCEU is starting to climb out of the hole a little bit.
The DCEU has started.
It's 1-3 right now.
Yeah. To me, this is where it actually begins. The others were precursors. Unfortunately, as much as I love Batfleck, I just feel like they were saying, "Welcome, people that don't know the comics. Okay, welcome. We're making comic book movies."
They just went too dark.
Yeah, they just messed up.
It makes me sad that with how good this movie was, it makes me sad that we didn't get. And I know everybody's like, "Man, origin stories have been origin to death." Batman's has, Spider-Man's has, Superman's has.
Yep.
Those three have been origin to death.
Correct.
So we could have had a Batman solo. You know what? We didn't even need a Batman solo movie. I know blasphemy is for me to say that because I love Batman, as everyone does. But we could have had Man of Steel. It could have been the Man of Steel that it was. Would I have liked to have seen it a little bit brighter, a little more hopeful? Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. S stands for hope. Should be hopeful. Then we could have had Wonder Woman. Then we could have rocked Aquaman. We could have rolled Flash in from the TV show. Bam. We got it. We got him. Then we could do Justice League. I mean, and then they could have had a BVS. They could have. I mean, because the whole Batman versus Superman thing and all that comes from years of them being friends / frenemies or whatever you want to call it, friends, and things happen from there that. It lays the groundwork of the story for them to fight for a reason, as opposed to he's so dangerous, I must kill him. Alien, bad, kryptonite. So I don't know. I'm not the head of Warner Brothers, so I can't make those calls.
Right.
But at least they're finally. It feels like they're starting to get back to the right direction, but we're not going to know until November whether or not they're really staying the course.
Yep.
And quit. I saw that little yawn. Don't do that. I've got to go do another one of these with Andrew here in a little bit.
It's on your shoulders, DC. I'm honestly cautiously optimistic at this point, though.
I am too.
I don't want to speak ill will of Justice League and its original path. I am excited about the fact that Joss Whedon is on board. I am excited about the fact that apparently, according to everything we're hearing, that he's doing some fairly extensive reshoots of stuff.
Probably to add some more Wonder Woman would be my guess.
Stuff to change tonality.
Yeah.
And I'm not against that. I have faith in him. He's responsible for some of
some
of our most beloved
between
properties.
Buffy and Firefly and Avengers and all that.
He's got the chops.
Dollhouse. Yeah, he's got the chops.
If the studio doesn't try to neuter him,
and that hopefully that's what they see with Wonder Woman. And I don't know how much the studio involvement was with Wonder Woman, but I have the feeling that it was minimal. Like they were involved, but they weren't.
They let her do it.
Jinx, you ain't changing this,
right?
Or you're gonna change this. You're gonna add more humor. Hopefully, they saw that once they let creative minds be creative, instead of being focused on what the focus groups say, because focus groups are a bunch of people that don't necessarily have anything or any love to this source material.
Right.
There's a reason that these comics have been around for 75 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason. And once you let people that love the material run the material, you'll get a quality project.
Yes.
And I've said from the word go that, Zack Snyder is a beautiful shooter.
Yes.
That guy can frame a shot
yes, he can.
Like nobody's business. He just doesn't have the ability to tell a cohesive story.
No.
And, the whole situation with him and what's going on with his family is awful and terrible. But it may truly be the best thing that has happened to the DCEU, as much as I hate to say that. And not just by being able to have Joss come in and put his tone to the movie. I hate to say add a little humor, but if you can use all his shots, do a few reshoots, and add a little something to it. Because when you think, Flash should be funny.
Yep.
Cyborg should be funny. I mean, those are two characters that tend to be humorous in their portrayals. They're not dour and serious. Aquaman's looking like he's going to have some humor to him. Hey, dressed like a bat. Dig it. There's all that.
Right.
Batman had a few little quips and one-liners in the Justice League trailer.
Yep.
So there was already some of that there. So if it can be edited together in a proper and cohesive story, I think we may see something in November that
We may have a winner.
we may be able to launch the rocket the right way here and get it going, and then there's going to be then we can get the real Marvel versus DC battle going, which will make them all step up their game, and we'll just get better and better movies. So I'm good with that. Yes, come on, DC, handle your shiz, bro.
We're counting on you.
Yes, we are, very much so.
Well, thanks for joining us and listening to us talk Wonder Woman. Stay tuned. We are going to be following up. Obviously, this week is E3.
Yep.
And so there is a ton of news on gaming. And I'm chomping at the bit to talk about a bunch of it. However, this isn't the video for that.
Nope.
So like and subscribe if you liked the video. Give us a thumb down if you hated it. If you think it sucks, let us know. Tell Chris that he sucks. And then
I'm awful. That's fine.
And then make sure you stay tuned and follow us because we will be following up with a bunch of coverage from E3. Our thoughts on each of the individual conferences. Chris is actually heading out from here directly to go to our buddy Andrew, Flick Freaks, to cover the Sony presentation. So,
and
fun times.
We'll see. They got their work cut out for them after Microsoft. So it's going to be very interesting.
With that, we're going to sign off. I'm Shawn Michael.
And I'm Chris. Follow us on social media, Geek.0. Bye.